So Mike Waltz, this national security advisor turned UN ambassador, the guy who was responsible for Signalgate, or at least partially responsible for the Signal scandal, where they were sending messages over the Signal chat, which is unsecured, and they weren't even supposed to be talking about classified information with all of it. Um, he is now coming out saying that Donald Trump has plans to try to remake the UN. Now, they want to look at the budget and they want to cut a bunch of money that goes to the UN. And they basically say that because we provide 25% of the financing for the United Nations, that the United States should get a bigger say than we already do in how that money is spent. And basically wants the UN to prioritize the things that the Trump administration wants prioritized, or they're going to start cutting a bunch of the funding. Now, I don't know how much of that they can legally do. Of course, this administration doesn't care about legally. Although, as we've talked about with other situations, Mike Waltz needs to be careful because when Donald Trump is gone, anything that he's connected to and these public comments can come back to bite him. If they do illegally take money from the UN, he could be facing criminal liability. But Donald Trump basically wants to cut back funding to the UN. He doesn't like the UN because the UN pushes back against some of the things that he wants to do. Also, remember, he went and spoke at the UN, went way over his time limit, and did a whole bunch of embarrassing things. And there was that escalator incident, and there was problems with the teleprompter. Now, the escalator problem that stopped, and he just didn't want to walk up the stairs. It embarrassed him, right? Well, turns out that was a member of his own staff, and the teleprompter issues were also from members of his own staff, but he blames the UN. So he's looking at taking a bunch of money from the UN, trying to shift it around and make it so that it goes toward the priorities he wants. Again, don't know how much success he is going to have with that, and besides, Congress appropriates money. If Congress keeps passing funding for the UN at current levels, I don't know how much he can scale back without them agreeing on stuff. And we are already seeing cracks in the Republican Party when it comes to Donald Trump getting his way. So they've got priorities trying to deal with the UN for Donald Trump to get his way on the world stage. If he does succeed in taking back money for the UN, it could lead to a situation where other countries like China get a bigger role on the world stage. They don't realize how much us being a supporter of the UN to the level we are gives us in the way of pull with the rest of the world.